I guess I've always really been interested in wildlife and animals throughout most of my life. Studying zoology has really impacted how I see animals and the environment around me in all sorts of ways. There are lots of invasive species in WA that are having a really big impact. A species that I don't think people really are that aware of is the goldfish or carp in general. My name's Tom Ferguson, I'm 26 years old and I'm studying an honours in zoology. But next year I'm planning on beginning a PhD on freshwater fish conservation in the southwest. We're here at Blue Gum Lake, which is my local suburban lake. Places like this have all sorts of biodiversity. They're kind of like a little safe haven for wildlife, tucked in the wasteland that is suburbia. You can come here certain times of year and you can hear 5 different kinds of frogs. You can hear some rattling frogs in the background right now. There's also an array of bird life. You got some wood ducks over there, Pacific black ducks, some purple swamp hens have been running around. And on top of all that, the water's full of invertebrates, lots of little bugs. Places like this are kind of the last little sanctuary for a lot of animals living in our area. Unfortunately, there's a lot of threats for them that people are creating. While there's a lot of native species here, there's also many invasive species that have found their way in. The only fish that you can see here are mosquito fish. There's kookaburras flying around as well as other invasive birds, and I'm sure a lot of cats will be roaming here at night time given the proximity to a lot of residences. Areas like this don't necessarily get heaps of conservation work done to them, but there are volunteers that come down and plant different native species of plants which can help the wildlife that live here. When pet goldfish are released into a waterway, they can rapidly proliferate to the point where they start to dominate the ecosystem. This means that they'll be outcompeting a lot of the native species and directly predating on particularly things like frog eggs or baby fish. As well as that, they also can do a bit of damage to the vegetation, which can destroy habitat for many species. Goldfish love to just forage and dig around on the bottom of a waterway, and this can disturb the vegetation and kick off a lot of muck into the water. And these can lead to algae blooms that can affect a lot of species and are also toxic to humans. As well as being very invested in the conservation of freshwater fish, I also do just admire them as a pet. So I've got quite a few tanks of all sorts of little freshwater fish, some of them being native to WA or even native to our local area, as well as other species from across the globe, so South America, Asia, really just spread out across the world. A lot of these do have the potential to become invasive if they are released into our local waterways. If you want to keep something in a pond, you need to make sure that when it floods, it doesn't drain into a local freshwater system. You obviously don't release them when you're done playing with them, as some people seem to think is okay. Education is really important for solving these sorts of problems, and that can lead to changes in behaviour. Thinking about if you're getting a pet, what you're going to do with it if it gets too big for where you're trying to keep it. Releasing them into the environment is just not an option.